Then it led me to study the human body, anatomy, physiology. Why do we have so many bodily systems? A digestive system, an endocrine system, a lymphatic system, a skeletal system, a muscular. I'm not that smart to build that. I didn't make my own brain, right? I didn't do that. I know it's a very complex machine, but I certainly did not have a hand in making it. I know I didn't. And I ask people sometimes, did you make your brain? They're like, I never thought about that. And the answer, of course, is no. Everybody has to be humble and say, no, I didn't make my brain. Because if they did, I would ask them, how did you do that?
Hi, everyone. My guest today is Raj Khedun. Raj is the managing director of Keep Fit Kingdom. He's got over 2,100 published articles on health, fitness, yoga, nutrition, and motivation. He's also a published author of the top 10 category book, How Squats Can Change Your Life. And he's a seasoned relationship, performance, and mentoring coach with 15 years of experience. But that's not all. Oh my God, there's more to this man. He's the inventor of the revolutionary 3.3, you said, or 3.3
3-3.
Metaverse Breathing Method, part of the 7 Minutes to Bliss program, which helps dramatically reduce stress and anxiety in just minutes and has proven highly effective in healing insomnia. Wow. Thank you so much for joining me today, Raj. I know you and I have had a 30-minute conversation prior to the start of this interview. So it's almost, I've never met you, but it's almost, I've known you a long time.
Yeah, exactly. Likewise, I appreciate the connectivity. I think that's wonderful. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Raj, can you share a bit about your journey? What actually inspired you to start Keep Fit Kingdom? And you've dedicated your life to health and wellness. So, how did your journey actually begin?
Okay, there's a bit of a backstory, a genesis kind of whole chapter to cover. I'll keep it as succinct as possible. If you have any questions, feel free to chime in. So it started when I was 3 years old, and my mother in London takes me to nursery for the first time. And I go to the library, or we're looking around, and I see the library, and I pick up 2 books. The first 2 books I ever pick up in this life, in this incarnation, if you believe in reincarnation, was one book about dinosaurs and one book about planets, right? So since that time, believe it or not, as fun and surreal and bizarre as it sounds, these 2 themes have stuck with me more than anything else. So I can remember it like it's yesterday in my imagination. It's etched on my brain. These 2 themes of dinosaurs and evolution, because I realized the thing I was so attracted about was how do animals evolve? So we had to discuss that subject intelligently. We have to look at several different angles. So I hope you're okay with the science, because I do go a lot into science as well as kind of thing.
Please,
If you're happy with that.
just go ahead. Like I said to you before we started this conversation, that I'm constantly learning. So I will switch my learning mode on now. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Looking at dinosaurs and how do animals evolve? Like, how do they become more and more advanced in their what we call sentiency, meaning they feel more? Do they think more? Their brains expand. They have more capacity to feel. Dogs today, for example, they almost, in many cases, it's like they're talking to you through their emotional expressions. You're wondering, dinosaurs, did they have that level of sentiency, or did it just evolve over time and their brains evolved and they were able to sense more and feel more and communicate more? But what is the process that makes that happen? Because it seems very intelligent to me, very intelligent. And then the planets thing was, why are those planets there? No one ever says. We know there's a solar system with several planets: the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, and so on. But why are those actually there? So if you go on YouTube, you'll see that there are robots on Mars exploring the Mars surface and doing experiments, drilling in the ground of Mars and things like this. But if you look, there's no water, there's no plants, there's no humans, there's a kind of red sky, and it's strange. There's nothing on the planet. So why, after it's been there, scientists say that the current solar system's been here for 4 billion years, so it's in half-life at the moment, midlife right now. So why has that planet been there for the last 4 billion years? What actually is it doing? So these questions, believe it or not, visited me as a child. And then I started to think about the other ones, the other planets, Saturn, Jupiter, Neptune, Uranus. What are they actually doing? And are they impacting humans or not? I remember having a conversation with a teacher once when I was very young. And I asked them, why are the days of the week called these days and not other days? And they almost got a little bit upset with me because what I realized was if you look at Martes in Spanish,
Yeah.
M-A-R, Mars Day. But people they don't even tell you that the days of the week are named after a planet. And there's no day of the week that is not named after a planet. All the days of the week are named after planets. So Sunday, Monday is Moon, Tuesday is Mars, Wednesday is Mercury, MER, Mercury, you can see that. Jueves is Thursday, which is today, and Friday, Venus, vendredi in French. And how do you say in Spanish? Viernes.
Viernes, yeah.
Yeah, Saturn, Saturday in English, Saturn, planet, Saturn. So the funny thing is, these things have always been there, but people are not connecting the dots on these concepts. So they don't realize their relationship to the larger cosmos. So that's the Genesis backstory: evolution, dinosaurs, planets, environmental stimuli, environmental influences that affect human beings, evolution. So then it led me to study the human body, anatomy, physiology. Why do we have so many bodily systems? A digestive system, an endocrine system, a lymphatic system, a skeletal system, a muscular. I'm not that smart to build that. I didn't make my own brain, right? I didn't do that. I know it's a very complex machine, but I certainly did not have a hand in making it. I know I didn't. And I ask people sometimes, did you make your brain? They're like, I never thought about that. And the answer, of course, is no. Everybody has to be humble and say, no, I didn't make my brain. Because if they did, I would ask them, how did you do that?
Maybe I can
No,
replicate it. Yeah, yeah,
exactly. Teach me.
yeah.
You be the guru. I'll sit at your feet. You teach me how you did that. But of course, no one can tell me that they made their own brain.
Right.
So there I'm thinking, like, there's some higher force intelligence who put all this together. So I came at it from that angle, not a religious angle per se or a spiritual angle per se. It's more just curious.
Yeah.
So studying the body, I worked out, I did a lot of fitness myself, did the alpha male stuff in the gym, competing with the guys, pushing the biggest weights. And then I realized it's not just about the physical body. There's so many systems working here. How do I optimize that? How do I use it? Should I even know this? Or why doesn't the school talk about it? So that's what led to the kind of interest in health, fitness, wellness, the human design, the human template, the human potential.
Okay. And so once you got into it, then you started publishing articles, right? What were some of the topics that, because you published so many articles,
Yeah.
what were some specific topics that actually you think resonated most with your readers? And what kind of impact have you seen a result of these articles have had from your work?
That's a great question. That's a great question. Wellness, especially after the pandemic, the COVID pandemic, wellness has been a huge area because people now are more willing to spend on wellness than they are to deal with pharmaceuticals, meaning big pharma, prescription meds from the GP, and so on. They really want more natural healing, natural remedies, because they're fed up with side effects. They've seen their own family go through endless years of prescriptions, and now they say, enough is enough. I want something better. So they'll do yoga retreats, they'll do cupping, they'll do acupuncture, they'll do therapy, they'll do meditation. They'll look at different ways to harmonize their mind and body and to feel well, where Society says you got to go keep running around like a headless chicken, and that's the only way you have your validation because you're really busy. Oh, how's life? I'm really busy. How's life? I'm super busy. Do you ever have a chance to appreciate what it is to be a human or not? Or are you going to die like that in freeze, fight, flight, sympathetic nervous system mode? Freeze, fight, flight. You never have a chance to relax. You never relax. You never read. You never do something creative like paint or play music or just go to a museum. You never have a chance to do that. These are the soft side of life, the parasympathetic nervous system. So I think to answer your question, wellness has skyrocketed. It's now worth 3 times what big pharma is. So it's $6 trillion now a year, whereas big pharma is only $2 trillion a year. So it's definitely getting people's attention.
So that's where so you think that wellness is what resonates the most with your readers.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And you just mentioned about natural methods for overcoming addiction, improving well-being and no prescription medication and all of that. And why do you think that approach is so important?
I think that approach is so important because it helps you appreciate what it is to be a human. Right? In the school system, we have wonderful ongoing debates about this all the time, which is brilliant because now finally people are saying, why do I accept so little from myself? Isn't there more to life? What am I? What powers do I have? These are fantastic questions because then they will start to make you think how to get more out of yourself, how to expand, how to increase your energy, how to help others do the same. And because life is all about expansion.
Yeah.
If you look carefully, life is all about growth and expansion. Everything is growing, everything is expanding, everything is improving all the time. So if you're not doing that for yourself in terms of your consciousness and your energy, then you're falling behind. So but it's not easy to understand this because the school system, they don't tell you explicitly that this is the plan. They don't tell you that. So unfortunately, some people got to learn it the hard way.
Yeah.
Life in the world by being disappointed by having tragedies happen. So I think understanding these things help you realize that you've got some hidden potential within yourself, and you need to tap into that to be able to fully appreciate yourself as a human being.
As a human being. Okay.
I hope that helps answer your question.
No, it does. And you also, because you're a coach, what is your approach to coaching? Because as I mentioned, it's relationship, it's different aspects of life that
Yeah.
you help and mentor people with. So, what is your approach?
That's such a great question. It's such a great question because if you look at human potential, you always have to look at that. I never used to look at that for the last 10 years. I've been doing that more consciously. Before that, I was just given a set template. This is what you follow for coaching, right? But I realized that it doesn't solve as many problems as could be solved. So what I've come up with and what I use and I teach people the same thing is there's 5 life areas. Like we have 5 fingers. There's 5 life areas. So one is health. The next one is finance or wealth. Next one is relationships or emotional life. Next one is mental life. And then the other one is spiritual life. So purpose and meaning. In the school system, they never teach you directly that life is full of purpose and meaning. They don't teach you that until Denzel Washington comes to the university and says, put God first, he says. Actors, Hollywood, coming out, Matthew McConaughey, same thing. So this system, this paradigm of the 5 life areas should really be taught from the beginning to kids. Then they can't go wrong. They can always see where any problem is. They can fix it by looking at one of those areas.
Yeah.
So that's what I teach now in terms of coaching. I've changed my model from purely focusing on isolated issues like a relationship problem. No, you've got to look at your health. You've got to look at your energy. You've got to look at your expectations. What do you want? Are you aligning with the same ideals with that person you're trying to create a relationship with or not? If you're not, then there's going to be some misalignment issues. There's going to be some years where you're estranged.
Yeah.
and then you split, right?
Yeah.
I try to teach people that major gestalt every single human being without, unfortunately or fortunately, the way it depends on how you look at it, has these five life areas. Like you have five fingers and you
Yeah.
have five senses, you have the five life areas and the five elements. It's the same pattern if you look carefully.
Yeah. So they all have to somehow complement each other. And not somehow, but they should complement each other. And which is what you try and bring into your coaching. So like
Correct.
you're saying, you don't isolate. And someone comes to you and says, "Oh my God, I have a problem with my spouse," or whatever it may be. And so then you just focus on that like a therapist would. But in what my understanding of what you're saying is that you bring in these five elements so that it becomes a more holistic approach
Correct.
to,
Correct.
yeah, okay, got it. Okay.
Absolutely.
So what is the 7 minutes to bliss program?
Okay, you're gonna go a bit of a deep dive into things.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'll make it. If you have any questions in the process, feel free to chime in. I know it can be quite a complex subject, but I'll do my best to keep it succinct and
And
easily understandable.
yeah, correct. As simply explained as possible.
Gearing up to study science per se. But what I found when studying yoga, which I've done for 25 to 30 years, there's no other way. You're going to learn metaphysics. If you study yoga, you're going to learn metaphysics, right? If you're going to learn yoga properly, you're going to be pushed into that realm, like it or not, right? Because yoga is great for the body. If you do hatha yogas, the postures, a downward dog, upward dog, sun salutation, sun surya namaskar, and all these things, great for the body, great. But then you're going to start coming across subjects like the breath. What is the breath? What does it what's in it? Is it just oxygen or is there more to it? How does that influence me in terms of my mood, my energy systems, my endocrine system, my nervous system, my immune system? Does it affect these things or not? So then you've got to realize that, hang on a minute, there's something in the atmosphere, in the air, which is not just oxygen. If you go to Vedanta, if you go to the yogic traditions of the East, especially India, which is the hotbed of yoga, of course, they will say there's three things in the atmosphere that you cannot see. And this is where humans struggle because they're dependent on their senses for what they perceive. So the three things are light, electricity, and magnetism. Now, whether you believe it or you don't, whether I believe it or I don't, these things are there. So I thought to myself, you know what? I wasn't taught this in school, so my mind is not computing this subject. But I better open up my mind to compute that subject because this stuff is all around me anyway. So it's there. Take it or leave it. What are you going to do? Are you going to suffer in ignorance or are you going to open up to the possibilities of what this means? You have a choice. You have a choice. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't even realize they have that choice because it's not been given to them in their formative training when they're young. So they don't even know. So I started experimenting with breathing methods intensively. Then I realized that a lot of people do breathing methods for a few weeks or a few months and they stop doing it. One of the main reasons for that is because it's too complicated for a lot of people. They just don't, they can't see the effects, they don't understand what happens, they don't do it for long enough. So they don't realize what they're missing. So 7 Minutes to Bliss was born out of a desire to make it simple and accessible for people to get into flow state, to relax, to reduce stress, pain, and anxiety quickly and simply without any long, complicated breathing techniques. So what's happened is that we condensed it down to a very simple method where you breathe in 3 times in through the nose and 3 times out through the mouth. And what this does is it helps you self-regulate really quickly. And it's an easy rhythm to remember. It's an easy count. And we've been testing it on children as young as 5 and adults as old as 85. And it's been working across the board for everyone.
So obviously you've also done it and not experimented, but you've practiced it
For
and
years.
for years. And obviously, it's made a difference, which is why you feel that to you, which is why you feel that it's something that something as simple as it may sound simple. It's like you breathe in through your nose and then you 3 times and you breathe out through your mouth. Sounds simple, but I think you're absolutely right. It needs to be regulated. There has to be a purpose behind it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. So what we notice is that you may have heard of Wim Hof. Yeah. A lot of people do that, and that's great. He's raising awareness for what breathwork can do for you as a human being to self-regulate. However, a lot of people that we speak to say they don't keep it up for very long because it's quite vigorous, it's not very comfortable, and sometimes it involves the cold plunge, ice bath, or the cold exposure. And a lot of people in the UK, especially, they don't really like that. In the cold and green, damp country of the UK, people don't look forward to jumping into an ice. America is the same. They don't particularly look forward to it. So they have to force themselves to do it. And when you have to force yourself to do something, you tend not to do it regularly. So this method is simple, easy, elegant, smooth, and we're aiming to make it as accessible to as many people as possible.
Okay. You've also talked about, because you've written a book on how squats can change your life, right? It's such a simple, how do you think like a simple exercise like a squat can transform someone's life?
We always get this question. We always get the question. Like, people have seen the book on Amazon, right? And they're like, how are you just saying squats can change your life? What about all those other exercises like shoulder press, bench press, swimming, cycling, and all dancing and all that stuff? Those are great. But for people who don't have a huge amount of time and they want to have the biggest effect on their physiology as possible in a short period, squats are the #1 most impactful exercise you can do.
Why not a plank?
Because the squats force you to breathe deeply.
Got it.
Because you're using the biggest muscles of your body, your thighs, your thigh muscles, and your glutes. So it forces you to breathe deeply. So that opens up your thoracic cavity, and it forces also endorphins to be released from your brain into your bloodstream. See, dopamine, serotonin, you release far more of those hormones from your brain when you do squats than when you do planks, for example. See, and because you only need to do, for example, you can easily do 12 squats in 1 minute, like bodyweight squats. It's very easy to do. And if you do that 3 times, you will release so much endorphins, dopamine, and serotonin from your own brain that you'll feel great for the whole day.
I should try this.
Absolutely.
I should mostly try it.
Because it uses your biggest muscles, and it's the best leverage for your time effort that you can get. If you do other exercise, you still might not get that depth of feeling good from the hormonal release. You might not get it.
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So simple, but the kind of things that it does to your body is something that I personally haven't thought about it like that. So it's something new that I've learned today. Thank you for that, Raj. So tell me, what keeps you motivated and inspired in your own life?
That's a big question, broad one. Yeah, full of all the esoteric questions today, pile. I would say one of the biggest issues I had when I was younger was going to school in London and having very matter-of-fact things taught to me in books. You read history books, you read social sciences, you read biology, but I knew there was something missing because it seemed all very much matter-of-fact, materialistic, like it's all separate from you. They're compartmentalized subjects. But in my mind, the strangest thing would be I would sometimes hear a voice saying to me, it's not that complicated. I like, what do you mean? But this is what we're taught in school. Yeah, but you, Raj, you know different. I, what do you mean by that? I'm hearing a voice talk to me. I'm thinking, who is that? I hope your listeners aren't going to think I'm completely crazy, but I think everybody has a conscience.
Yeah.
And if you're willing to listen, it will instruct you in ways that your society will never tell you. And it's only when you get together with individuals like yourselves who are tuned into that frequency and that vibration, then you realize that, oh, these people really are on that. They really see things like this. So I struggled with, is life matter of fact? Is it purely materialistic? Or is there actually purpose and meaning in life? I went to India at 18 years old, and everything I thought I knew had to go out the window. My life turned upside down. I was quite obnoxious, arrogant as an 18-year-old young man full of testosterone. I went to India and I was humbled, like flawed.
And was
Because
that
I met,
and that was the first time that you went to India?
that's right, yeah. Because I met there, you have great yogis and avatars in
Yeah.
India. And I met a very powerful one. And his energy was just off the charts in terms of his electromagnetic aura. When you get it close to some energy like that, it just completely turns your brain inside out, basically. And when I came to London, I came back and I was thinking, what do I actually know? I don't actually know anything. Everything I've been taught in school doesn't teach me about who am I, where am I going, what is this all about, what is human life, how do you understand humans? It's not teaching me anything, right? So I had to learn, recode my brain and my thinking totally towards the meaning and purpose side rather than life is purely materialistic. So that's a struggle for a lot of people, I think. So they never even get to that point where they can even ask those questions because people say, oh, you're daft, you're silly, that doesn't exist. Don't talk like that. And then you start trying to look for your own clique, your own tribe, your own, where's my people? Where are they? So I think it's a question of tapping into your potential and understanding the maximum of what you can fulfill and try to fulfill as much as you can and help others do the same.
Okay. So is that the advice that you would give the listeners?
Find your dream, find out what your dream is,
Yeah.
write it down, think about it, dwell on it, and then step by step, day by day, try to live it.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously a lot of hard work and effort, but if you believe that there is a certain purpose in your life, as you mentioned earlier, then absolutely nothing's impossible. So you just have to work towards it, and you can make it happen.
Absolutely.
I truly believe in that. So thank you so much, Raj. I really had it's been a very interesting conversation and listening to you as well. How, if people want to reach out to you, how should they do it? What are the different
But
platforms that you're available on, and are you accessible? How do people reach out to you?
best place I think is proving the most easiest is via the website keepfitkingdom.com. And on there's a tab called 33 products. So it teaches you the metaverse breathing methods. You can download a tutorial. You can ask questions. We're connected on WhatsApp. You can easily ask questions on there. There's a lot of FAQs to help you understand what it can do for you in terms of addictions or mindset or moods or bipolarism or ADHD or insomnia. A lot of people who do this method, for example, if they've had insomnia for 5 or 10 years or taking meds, they fall asleep within 30 to 90 seconds of doing this method. So they can find out all about the testimonials we have from the NHS, Novartis, Oracle software company. You can email us, but that's the best way. Keepforkingdom.com. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you so much, Raj. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And yeah, there's a lot to learn from you, actually. There's
I'm
plenty.
learning a lot from you as well. I'm learning a lot from you as well. And you're so receptive and so, you know, open to ideas. I think that's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.